Hi, this is Mrs. Schoberg. I'm so glad you've tuned in today to watch this video about using variables found in Lesson 1.1 in your algebra book. There's going to be some important vocab that you need to know in this lesson, so this might be something you want to write down in your notes in your own words. The first thing what we're going to be dealing with today is a variable. In math, a variable is a symbol, and it's often a letter that represents one or more numbers. You'll probably see the variables x and y a lot in math class, though there are many other variables as well. The second thing we'll be dealing with today is an algebraic expression. Now, an algebraic expression, that's a mathematical phrase that can include numbers, variables, and operation symbols. An operation symbol just being like plus, minus, square root, something like that. So some typical mathematical or algebraic expressions might be something like 3x plus 5, or maybe the square root of x minus 15. You also need to know what an equation is. You've seen equations a lot in math. They always have to have an equal sign. If it doesn't have an equal sign, it's an expression. If it has an equal sign, it's an equation. So it might be similar to what you have before, but it might say 3x plus 5 equals 18. All right, we're going to work out some examples. I'm going to give you a phrase, and your job is to come up with an algebraic expression that represents that. The first one is the sum of n and 10. So if you see something like this, you need to think, what does the word sum mean? And you might recall that sum in math, it means you're adding the answer to an addition problem. So here I know that sum of n and 10 is going to mean n plus 10. This is the final answer I'm looking for. That's the algebraic expression. So yep, Joe, the answer does not just have to be a number. N plus 10 is what I'm looking for here. The quotient of 9 and n, in this case, quotient means divide, so I want you to write 9 divided by n, or you can write 9 divided by n with the division symbol or the fraction bar. I usually will use the fraction bar. Okay, try these ones. This time I want you to try the problem on your own, and then you can look at my answer and see if you got the same thing. So here it is, 3 multiplied by m. Go ahead and try, see if you can write something for that. You may have written 3 multiplication sign and then the letter m. I want you to think for a minute, if you wrote that, why do you think that might look confusing? I hope you came up with, well, hey, this is algebra. That time symbol kind of looks like an x, so that might be confusing. You might have written it like this, 3.m. And that's okay, but the ultimate best answer that I want is just 3m. When you put a letter and a number together, or just any two symbols together, that means we're multiplying in algebra. And I like to see it like that because I want you to be smart, lazy mathematicians that write things in the most efficient way possible. So I prefer the third of these methods. Okay, how about this one? 5 less than y. This is another one that can be tricky. Try it on your own. Okay, 5 less than y. If you wrote 5, the less than symbol than y, it's tempting, but that's not correct. That means 5 is less than y. If you wrote 5 minus y, again, tempting, but not correct. Less than is one of those tricky things that means subtract, but you flip the order when you hear less than. So y minus 5, 5 less than y, it's written like this. Okay, check out this chart. These are some key words and phrases that help cue you in to know when you need to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Sum, plus, add to, more than, increase by, and total. These are all words that mean you need to add. Difference, minus, less than, decrease. Those all say it's time to subtract. Product times of. Of is a key one, like 30% of 25. Multiplied by, twice, double, triple. Those all mean you need to multiply. And last, if you see the words quotient, divided by, or into, or ratio, it's probably good to divide. Okay, This time we're going to be working out a little bit more complicated examples. These ones, I want you to actually define your variable, so I want you to come up with a variable, and then I want you to write an algebraic expression for the phrase. So this one's the sum of 10 and twice a number. So remember what I said before, the word sum means add. Twice a number, that means 2 times a number. So if I was going to do this, the sum of 10 and twice a number, try it on your own. Okay, I'm going to write 10 plus twice a number, 2n. Write that in my smart, lazy way. Second one, 3 less than the product of 4 and a number. So product, again in math, product means multiply. Less than, that was that tricky one where we flip the order, meaning subtract. So product of 4 times the number, 4n minus 3. All right. Okay, example 3. You're going to write an equation for each of these situations. And it says here, the total income from selling tickets to school play for $4.50 each. So here, to write an equation, I probably need to come up with some variables. I know that I'm comparing the number of tickets I sell and the income. So I'm going to call I my income. And I am going to come up with probably T for the tickets that I sell. If I'm thinking about this problem, I know that when I sell just one ticket, I make $4.50. When I sell 5 tickets, I'm going to have to do $4.50 times 5. When I sell 23 tickets, I'm going to have to do $4.50 times 23. So it looks like to find an income, I'm always multiplying $4.50 by the number of tickets. So therefore, I'm going to say that the income is $4.50 times T, and I'd write that I equals 4.50T, or if you want to be even smarter and lazier, it might be good to say I equals 4.5T. Okay, here we have a little table, so it's not given straight out to me in words. I'm going to need to come up with a relationship here. You might know that when you drive, you're often thinking about miles per gallon. So here I know that I went 80 miles and that used 4 gallons. Here I used 120. That was 6 gallons, 160 was 8, and 200 was 10. If I look at this closely, I notice that it looks like every time I travel 20 times as far as the gallons I use. I'm going to call gallons used G and miles traveled M. And I'm going to say that I know that my miles is always 20 times my gallons. Now, you may have looked at this in another way, and you may have actually just written M divided by G equals 20. Either of these is fine for your equation. Okay, this will give you a start for tomorrow. So remember tonight, you just had to take your notes on the video. But tomorrow in class, we're actually going to do what typically you would think of as the homework that goes with the notes. So I don't have to say this too much more in class. I'm going to explain it on the video. All right. Homework. Whenever you have homework, or often we might think of this as classwork in the future, you're always going to head it with the section number, which is 1.1, and today's date. I always want your notebook in your math notebook with a pencil and neat. Look up at the top there. You're going to notice some weird symbols. You're going to notice that there are some stars. You also might see some things in parentheses. And sometimes you might even see these little triple stars. Okay, those all mean different things. The star means required. Absolutely everybody has to do that problem. If it has parentheses, that means you do that problem if you miss the star problem in front of them. So if you miss number 7, then I want you to do number 3 and 4. What usually happens is 3 and 4 are like number 7, and it gives you a chance to say, well, I didn't get it right the first time, but now that I checked my work and checked the solution, I want to see if I know what I'm doing now. Now, the last ones, if you have the triple star, like the 41, 42, and 43 at the end, that means you do those if you got all the original star problems correct. You probably know what you're talking about here in this problem or this whole section, and you are up for a challenge. More homework guidelines. Do I have to show my work? It's really important to me that you diligently show your work. I really only accept homework if your work accompanies your answer when appropriate. That means if I have something like 2 plus 3, it's okay not to show your work. But something more complicated, I want to know your reasoning. And if you make a mistake, I want you to be able to go back and look where you made that mistake. If you don't know how to do a problem, please attempt the problem anyway. If you're completely lost, you're going to check the solutions manual online and see if you can figure it out. And then, after you try that problem as a guide, you try the next problems in parentheses and make sure you can really understand the material. If you can't, then it's really time to ask for help. So I love helping you. I want you to ask as much as you can. Good luck, and I'll see you tomorrow in class.